This Skybound with the Talking Joe guys. Everyone calm down. We're here to talk comics. Skybound.
Hey, it's me, Mark, and welcome to Talking Joe, the G.I. Joe comics podcast. If you are new to the show, you can find out all about us over at talkingjoe.co.uk. That is the website. Now, today, we are going to be doing an introduction to the Energon Universe, years 1 through 3 of continuity and the road to M.A.S.K. Now, the Energon Universe is basically formed up of Void Rivals, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and the new title M.A.S.K, all sharing a single combined universe and continuity. But for the most part, the titles can be taken in isolation and read without too much crossover. It's not like the Superman triangle issues of yore where you had to buy each title and follow one from 1 week to the next to understand the story. These stories are generally written to be read without having to buy absolutely every single thing. So, but within this continuity, there are certain key touch points where things cross over, and that's what this episode is going to look at today. It's those critical touch points in between the titles. So, welcome to the Energon Universe, year 1, which started all the way back in 2023. So we've got Void Rivals, Transformers, and G.I. Joe forming the main elements of these, of the continuity. These three, I'm going to say titles, but G.I. Joe didn't start off as just being G.I. Joe. There's a little bit more to it. So Void Rivals was the thing that kicked it all off in June 2023. It's a comic series written by Robert Kirkman of Invincible and Walking Dead fame, drawn by Lorenzo De Felici. It made its debut June 14th, 2023, published by Skybound, which is an imprint of Image Comics. The story follows Derek and Salila, two individuals from opposing sides of an ancient extraterrestrial racial war between their respective races, Agoria, Zertonia. Their ship crashes on a barren planet, forcing them to cooperate for survival. So that's how issue 1 kicks off. And within the issue, just touted as a normal, Skybound Image comic, nothing too special about it, other than it's reuniting Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo De Felici, who had previously worked on a book called Oblivion Song. Released to very little fanfare. But once you open up the book, there is a surprise reveal of Jetfire, the Transformer, who also leaves within the same issue. So, people were aghast. This represented the launch of the new Hasbro properties of G.I. Joe, Transformers at Image. So it's completely surprise reveal. So it made a big splash at the time. Along with that surprise reveal, we were welcomed to the Energon Universe, which consisted of the first title out the gate, Void Rivals, followed up a few months later by Transformers, October 2023, and that delay meant that the reveal of Transformers at Image wasn't spoiled by Void Rivals. It was a bit of surprise because there's typically, the solicits are about 3 months ahead. And then from G.I. Joe's side, Duke in December 2023 and Cobra Commander the next month. So initially 2 G.I. Joe titles sort of setting the scene and introducing 2 main characters. Transformers was the first key bit of, the second key bit of continuity, because Transformers issue 1 had the arrival of Jetfire following his departure from Void Rivals. So one leading into the other. And my graphic has got a nice little connector showing joining the dots between Void Rivals and issue 1 and Transformers issue 1 there. So next key element was in the very next issue, Transformers 2, which introduced Duke. So Duke and his friend Frosting were set upon by Starscream, who attacked the jet that they were in, and Duke's friend was killed by Starscream, setting him on a path of revenge. And that Star sequence was recreated in Duke issue 1 as a flashback, and it gave him the impetus, the drive for his story through the pages of Duke. So connecting Transformers 2 issue 2 to Duke issue 1 there. Next out the gate, the next month, Cobra Commander issue 1 was launched, and significantly for this combined universe, it featured the introduction of Megatron as well as Cobra La. And so Megatron, obviously famous for being the key Transformers baddie. And in this particular universe, we first see him in a G.I. Joe book in Cobra Commander issue number 1. So where do we next see a crossover? To some degree, it's Transformers issue 4. Megatron is frozen in ice as a bit of a scene setting him up. So the exact continuity of how that fits in, I don't know, was completely established. So whether that is where he was found by Cobra Commander, or if it's after he escaped from Cobra La, but some connectivity. It happened either side, potentially. So just to flag as well, Void Rivals here. I'm not going to necessarily call out every single cameo that features in Void Rivals, because Void Rivals is essentially the second Transformers book. There are Transformers connectivity, Easter eggs, cameos aplenty. You get to see Skuxoid, this sort of alien bounty hunter character from the cartoons in issue 2. The Quintessons arrive in issue 3 and even have their own arc, the Quintesson War. Shockwave arrives in issue 4. Springer arrives in issue 9. Hot Rod arrives a bit later. So basically, it's an extra Transformers book set in a different corner of the universe, but significantly, there's not very much crossover between the books. Void Rivals' corner of Transformers mostly happens on its own, and Transformers as a solo title mostly happens on its own as well. There's not too much of one storyline influencing the other. So we get to see the Transformers in Duke number 5, so the conclusion of the Duke miniseries. We see Optimus Prime revealed, and he's blasting away with his Megatron arm and another gun, which seems to be a callback to Transformers issue number 6, as drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, which features a very similar looking sequence of Prime in action. Next one I've highlighted is Cobra Commander issue number 5, which is when Megatron escapes. What's the aftermath of Megatron escaping from Cobra La, and Pythona takes to the stars. So this sequence here, we see a devastation of Cobra La and Globius overlooking the aftermath of Megatron escaping, and he decides to take to the stars to go after these Transformers after finding a bit more about them in their homeworld, and sets Pythona with that particular mission, and she goes off in her Leviathan organic spaceship thing. And that storyline is picked up in Energon Universe 2024 Special. So we get the introduction of annual Energon Universe specials for Free Comic Book Day, which are then also reprinted at $3.99 price point, I believe, the following week with variant covers. And a lot happens in that first Free Comic Book Day Energon Universe special. Megatron escapes from Cobra La, sort of feeding from that Cobra Commander storyline, but also feeding Megatron into the pages of Transformers. Baroness joins G.I. Joe, so that sort of continues on from a key point in the Duke miniseries, and Skuxoid meets Hot Rod. Hot Rod obviously being a key Transformers character. So I'm displaying on my slide lots of arrows feeding into and out of that first Energon Universe title, concluding year number 1 of the Energon Universe. So year 2 of the Energon Universe launched several new titles in the form of Destro and Scarlet, and lots of extra characters and some new dynamics as well. So let's get into that. In the pages of Void Rivals, Pythona's story as she explores space along with some of her Cobra La teammates continues. So that runs out of the flows on from the Energon Universe Special into Void Rivals issue number 13. And Pythona's story continues in the pages of Void Rivals from issue 13 on to present day and beyond. So I'm not going to call out every single issue, but basically in most issues, there is a page or 2 or 3 sort of continuing the story of Pythona and the rest of the Cobra La team as they make their way through space onto the discovery of the planet from Void Rivals and some of those Transformers characters. So calling out a cameo, a key character who we'll see quite a lot of connecting these titles together. Destro number 3 introduces General Flag, a key character from the in the ARA, a Real American Hero, G.I. Joe continuity. And here he is established as a key character in this Energon Universe continuity as well. He first appears, as I say, in Destro and next appears in Transformers. And then we've got this pivotal event here in Transformers issue number 12, where there's this big event. Sort of Cybertron is sort of teleported into orbit just by Earth. But this portal is closed, and when that happens, a shard of the Transformers' home planet of Cybertron falls from space into the Atlantic Ocean. So this is a key event that has literal ripples, because the shard creates ripples, but also ripples in the other books. So calling out first Destro issue number 5, in the epilogue of that book, the Cybertronian shard is seen falling from space and is tracked by Cobra. And then in G.I. Joe issue number 1, the Joes protect a section of the recovered Cybertronian shard. And there's this sort of visual of Duke giving a briefing, which has got this sort of satellite imagery of a big shard in the ocean and sort of encircled by battleships. And the other elements of story around that shard actually sort of continue on in the pages of Transformers itself. In Transformers issue number 13, Starscream, who has been badly damaged in a battle, is salvaged by a Mars salvage crew. So they've got this hiss tank, which they use to salvage the wrecked body of Starscream, and then they cannibalize that body and actually, combine him with the hiss tank, and the hiss tank becomes his lower body and becomes sort of a replacement for his legs so that he can move about. And he doesn't. Starscream sort of doesn't. It doesn't treat that salvage crew very well, and actually, I think most of them get killed by him. He shows mercy to Private Martin, who is an artist and has been drawing a sketch of him. And we'll see a bit of Private Martin later on. In Transformers 14, the Cybertronian shard actually shows up again. In Void Rivals issue 17, we get a nice Easter egg where they reference a Prismosian wedding. So Springer says, try spending thousands of years in the wasteland. This is a Prismosian wedding by comparison. And Prismosian is a reference to a planet from Visionaries. So it's a little Easter egg dropped in there that gives us the hint that maybe we're this Energon universe also inhabits the Visionaries world as well. I don't know that we've seen anything else beyond just that single Easter egg that references Visionaries, but it's one to look out for in the future if potentially we see some more. Over in the pages of G.I. Joe issue number 6, Cobra Commander has set up this brainwave scanner device, brainwave bomb, and as part of doing that, he creates this device, this sort of black and glowing thing, which was described as a T-cog, which I believe is this sort of magical device almost that allows Transformers to combine with that and give them the transforming abilities. So we've not seen an awful lot of this T-cog since. We're almost where are we? 15 issues on from this point, and it's not necessarily been referenced again, but everything in the Energon universe seems to have meaning, and everything is built upon. So at some point, before too very long, expect Cobra Commander to do something with this T-cog device that he has been able to create. In G.I. Joe issue number 6 as well, Clutch's car transforms into a robot. It is the robot Hound. So not a direct crossover with Transformers, other than it being a Transformers character featuring in the pages of G.I. Joe. So this is where I'm talking about generally a lot of this continuity is specific to a particular book. So you don't have to be reading Transformers to understand masses about Hound, because it's not a back and forth between books. Hound is established within the pages of G.I. Joe and largely stays within the confines of the G.I. Joe comic, rather than appearing in G.I. Joe, appearing in Transformers, appearing back in G.I. Joe, etc. So next up, immediately following on from that Hound appearance, Clutch, his friend or driver, seeks out his old acquaintance Matt Tracker to help repair to help repair Hound. And so that happens in the pages of the Free Comic Book Day Energon Universe Special number 2 from 2025. So they seek out Matt Tracker, who is well known as being the leader of M.A.S.K. So this is the first reveal of anything to do with M.A.S.K. in the Energon universe so far. Plus, Ravage makes an appearance, that Panther transforming cassette from Soundwave. And also there's a Dreadnought War Prologue and a Quintesson War Prologue in that book. So quite a lot going on. So which leads us into year 3. So we start off with a combiners battle of 2 giant Transformers in the pages of Transformers issue number 17. This is in Seattle. And in G.I. Joe issue number 8, Cobra watch on their monitors some footage of this very same battle in Seattle. So a direct bleed through from one book to another. But again, not having massive impact other than Cobra sort of seeing what's going on and paying attention. Look, there's the T-cog in the corner of one of those panels as well. And there's another bit of reference back to some of the events of these giant fights going on between the Transformers. The G.I. Joe at one point do go to kind of help with kind of some rescue missions and clearance in the aftermath of one of these Transformers battles. So there's that connectivity. Next up, I've highlighted Transformers issue number 18, where Carly, one of the main human characters from Transformers, and Ultra Magnus are captured by some mysterious human forces. And on the corner, on the shoulder of one of these soldiers is highlighted a G.I. Joe logo. So a little bit mysterious. There's some sort of wider G.I. Joe team operating at scale in the pages of Transformers. So that continues on into Transformers 20 through to 22, where we meet the character of Doc, a famous G.I. Joe character, the medic, and we also see General Flag in the pages of Transformers for the first time, overseeing this whole operation and the sort of capture and interrogation of Ultra Magnus. So that continues on through a few issues, but is largely contained to the pages of Transformers. We've not yet seen Doc and the repercussions of this particular story play out in G.I. Joe at all. Although the main G.I. Joe artist, Tom Riley, did appear to do the design for Doc. So we do have that connectivity. As this human versus Transformers battle continues in the pages of Transformers issue number 22, one of the people one of the pilots in a jet says, "Let's do this for Frosting." So a callback to Transformers issue number 2, Duke issue number 1. Frosting is Duke's friend. These pilots, I think, also get done in by Starscream, unfortunately. In G.I. Joe issue number 9, we see Agent Martin again, who we last saw in Transformers issue number 19. He is sort of set on a mission to go and find out what this guy knows. So Mercer tracks him down to kind of like a mental institution where he's drawing a giant mural of Starscream on the wall. And Mercer takes him out. Not for a meal. He takes him out with a bullet to the back of his head, I think. So next up, we get the relaunch of the soft relaunch of Transformers with issue number 25 and a new creative team, new writer Robert Kirkman taking over from Daniel Warren Johnson, and new artist Dan Mora. And so in issue number 25, Miles Mayhem is introduced. So this is the key main baddie from M.A.S.K. And he's introduced as the head of Shadow Watch by General Flag. We also see these Energon deposits that Flag has access to within Shadow Watch, which are referenced later on in G.I. Joe issue number 20. And also the death of Starscream, which is also referenced later on in G.I. Joe number 20. In the same issue, in fact, Transformers issue 25, Thundercracker is mysteriously transported to Cobra La. And there's a sort of a flashback that looks very similar to that sequence with Globulus from the Energon Universe Special from 2024. We don't exactly know what's going on with this sort of transportation thing going on to Cobra La, but I imagine it will be built on in the future. So Transformers 25 through to 28 sort of has this story all about Miles Mayhem, which continues of him initially working with Flag. Then it's revealed that he's a little bit of a baddie. Flag cottons on to that fact and tries to arrest him before he escapes in his M.A.S.K. vehicle. And the story concludes with Flag saying, "Get me, Matt Tracker." And Matt Tracker's story continues in the pages of G.I. Joe issue number 19 shortly after, and immediately following on from General Flag looking to find him. Government agents track him down. So G.I. Joe issue number 19 picks up with a flashback set after his last appearance in the Free Comic Book Day Energon Universe Special from 2025. And we get to see what happens to Matt Tracker next. He meets up with a government agent at a racecourse before being tracked down by Scrap Iron, and then meeting up with the G.I. Joe agents who, again, are looking for a little bit of technical help with Hound. So that story continues in 19. The M.A.S.K. story continues on in 19. From that bit with Miles Mayhem, but also the story from the Free Comic Book Day issue. Then in Transformers issue 19, we get a pivotal moment for Optimus Prime, where he loses the matrix of leadership and is transformed into just Optimus. And then just very shortly afterwards, I want to say it's like the week afterwards, or very, very shortly afterwards anyway, we get a reference back to that in G.I. Joe issue number 20, where Matt Tracker's story continues, but also Duke meets Optimus Prime, or just Optimus for the first time, because there's this surprising sort of reveal, because we have a cover with Duke and Optimus Prime looking very much like the Optimus Prime we know and love on the front cover there, but then in the pages it's directly continuing on from that continuity of the previous Transformers issue, where he became just Optimus, and it is the Optimus that we meet in the pages of G.I. Joe issue number 20. And as well as that Optimus Prime story continuing, we get to see Matt Tracker again, and the conclusion of that story, he says, "I'm done running," and then heads off to continue his story elsewhere. And we can guess that it's leading into the pages of the M.A.S.K story. So there we go. There's on screen Duke meeting just Optimus. And in the pages of that particular story, there's also lots of other connectivity. Optimus Prime, or I want to say Optimus Prime, Optimus refers to Energon deposits back from Transformers issue 25, and he also refers to Starscream's death from that same issue, Transformers issue number 25. So all of this is leading to the Energon Universe Free Comic Book Day special, which is out May the 2nd, and we'll see several stories all set in the Energon universe. So there's the first proper M.A.S.K story, which is from the M.A.S.K creative team of Dan Waters and Pi Barr. There's also the going to be a Void Rival story, a Transformers story, and a G.I. Joe story too. So I believe the Void Rivals one is from the creative team there, Robert Kirkman and Connor Hughes. The Transformers story, which features this mysterious girl on the cover, sort of bending down at a river or something with this mysterious red sword. So that is from the Transformers team of, again, Robert Kirkman and Jason Howard. And then we've got a G.I. Joe story with a cover featuring Hawk and General Hawk and Zartan, aka the one and same person, with art by Tom Riley, written by Joshua Williamson. And so just to reiterate what's going on with the road to M.A.S.K, where did it start? Where did it continue? Where's it going? So it started with the Free Comic Book Day Energon Universe Special this time last year, May 2025, where Clutch and Hound meet Matt Tracker. The story then continued with the Miles Mayhem side of M.A.S.K in Transformers 25 through to 28. Matt Tracker's story continued in G.I. Joe issue 19 to 20. And then we're going to see the M.A.S.K story continue in the pages of the Energon Universe Special 2026 out in May, before it is then launched with a ongoing title, M.A.S.K issue number 1, the following month. So M.A.S.K becoming the fourth tier of the combined Energon Universe, Void Rivals, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and now M.A.S.K as well, as we head into year 4. So, how do you best read and collect the Energon Universe? This is a nice graphic from Delta Trion, so hats off to Delta Trion for creating this one. And really, Skybound Image have made it very easy for us. There's a weekly title. There's, well, pretty much a weekly title coming out. So once a month, you'll get a G.I. Joe title, a Void Rivals title, a Transformers title, and now a M.A.S.K one. And so you can read those in those floppy single issues. coming out every month. They're then collected in trade paperbacks, collecting 5 or 6 issues at a time, mostly 6, and then you get a deluxe hardcover option as well, which collects about 12 issues at a time in a hardcover volume with some extras in the back of the book as well. So if you want to get started for G.I. Joe, you can collect in singles Duke, Cobra Commander, Scarlet, and Destro. That would be 20 issues total. You can get the graphic novel trade paperback collections of those, Duke, Cobra Commander, Scarlet, and Duke, which collect 5 issues apiece. You could collect the Codename G.I. Joe Book 1 and Book 2, which collect those 4 minis between them, 2 miniseries per book. And out soon will be G.I. Joe book number 1, which will collect what's the first 12 issues of the ongoing G.I. Joe. Similarly for Void Rivals, there's multiple trade paperbacks collecting 6 issues at a time, which are then collected into the hardcovers, 12 issues at a time. And exactly the same, Transformers, 6-issue trade paperbacks, 12-issue hardcovers, or just buy the singles. And Skybound have been keeping these in print with multiple reprints. So if you do want to go back and just start from the beginning, that is still possible. Between reprinted copies and stuff in your local comic book shops or eBay's back issue bins, you can definitely get hold of the early issues without having to break the bank. So that is it. That is my overview of the Energon Universe continuity, how it all sort of stitches together across the main titles. I think, the takeaway is there's 3 main strands: the Void Rival strand, the Transformers strand, G.I. Joe strand, and for the most part you can enjoy those as single titles if that's what you want to do. But if you want to buy or collect the entire lot, it just gives you a lot of a richer experience of seeing how the whole universe is coming together. And the trade paperback option also gives you an option to do that very easily and not without breaking the bank too much. And this is a combined universe. They're taking it steady. They're not overloading us with too much unnecessary crossovers. They're letting each title breathe and stand on its own right. But this all is heading towards some sort of event where we'll see everything come together. And I'm sure the way that they've been handling things so far, that will be a very rewarding way of when they actually do it. It won't be a superfluous and sort of unnecessary event. It will have some weight and some heft to it, and a big payoff of everything that else has been leading up to that point, I would think. So don't want them to rush it, but when they do it, I'm sure it will be something quite special. So hopefully you enjoyed that intro to. If you think I missed something significant, flag it in the comments, let me know. And hope you enjoy those books. You have been watching Talking Joe. We do release episodes weekly, most Thursdays. You can find all about us at talkingjoe.co.uk. That is the website where we can be found. And if you're a particularly cool kid, like Richard, Sam, Christopher, Shane, Simon, Chris, Joe, Craig, D, Shane V2, this one exists in multiple continuities, Infinite Entertainment, Gary V, Coldroth B, Squishy, Matt, and Edu B, they get early access to content and there's all sorts of exclusives too. So thank you, boys. And with all that said and done, I'll just leave you on a final thought. Nobody beats Talking Joe, an international podcast. Laters.